Rosenbloom. I'm going to host this show along with my good buddy, Tarek Fattal from the Daily News, and it's time to talk about playoff football, not only in the city section, but also in the southern section. Tarek, welcome to the program. Exciting times now that we're in playoffs.
I believe they say it's win or go home.
Yes.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, playoff football, always an exciting time of the year. A busy time for us prep writers. We got what we call the fall to winter crossover. High school football playoffs coming, and then basketball just around the corner. So a very exciting time for high school sports.
We're going to talk banning football in a little bit. We'll also set up that big Warren-Sierra Canyon game that's coming up. But let's look back at some of the games from last week that really propelled some teams into high bids into the playoffs and get high rankings and seeds. And we're going to start with a really good football game. Chaminade falling to Sarah of Grajeda. This really turned the Mission League around.
Literally. Chaminade had every opportunity to win that league outright and lost their last two games of the season, including that season finale against Sarah Grajeda. So that win put Sarah in second place and Chaminade in third and gave Sierra Canyon the outright league title.
And then let's talk about Sierra Canyon. They had an assignment against Notre Dame of Sherman Oaks. They were the big favorite there, so this score is not surprising.
Not surprising at all. Sierra Canyon goes, and I think what really helped them there is knowing they needed to win to earn at least a share of the league title. Chaminade loses, they get it outright, and Sierra Canyon, I would argue, is playing the best high school football in Southern California right now.
You can make that argument. What about like Mater Dei and St. John Bosco?
Right. Those might be the best teams in Southern California, but in regards to who's playing the best football, Sierra Canyon started the season 2-4 and has won 4 games in a row.
There was another very meaningful game in the southern section. J. Sarah 20, Orange Lutheran 7. This kind of rounded out the playoff picture.
It did. It really did. Everyone was kind of thinking if Orange Lutheran could win, it would create a larger divide for the playoff divisions because Orange Lutheran was ranked higher. But since J. Sarah shocked them, upset them, whatever word you want to use, it created what we now have as a 10-team Division I playoff.
Let's switch over to the city section. 2 really big games, and we're going to talk banning football. I don't think this is a bad loss for them going into the playoffs. San Pedro, an undefeated regular season, perfect 10-0, 14-7 over the Pilots.
I think city section football is so awesome because it's so community driven. People care about it. It's passionate. And listen, 14-7, anyone could have won that game. That's what that score tells me. So a good hard fought game, but San Pedro comes out on top.
Yeah, San Pedro is the #1 seed in the Open Division. Banning is third. And we'll talk to Banning about that. Also, the next game, Venice cements the #2 seed. Paul Kessler, their fine quarterback, throws 4 touchdowns. And they just did it to Pali, 60-14.
Yeah, and I think you used the right word, cemented, solidified that #2 seed. And so they got quite the matchup. They're going to host Birmingham in the Open Division next week. And Birmingham, I don't care what number you put next to their name. They're the 2-time defending champs. So I still think they're the team to beat, even though they're the 7 seed. But Venice is going to have quite the matchup.
Yeah, and Venice will have them at
Correct.
Venice, so
Yep.
Birmingham has to travel. So that is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a showcase game, and we'll really get into it because it's going to be on next Thursday when we're on the air. Also, another interesting development in the city section last week. Marquez and Maywood CES had 5 officials, 5 women officials. They called them the Fab Five. It's the first time we had 5 of them.
Look at that.
There they are celebrating, and really a good group. Christy Nichols was the lead official there. It was just great to see. They had 5 wonderful ladies officiate the game. Unfortunately, it was a blowout, 61-20. There she is. 61-20, Marquez won it. But they did a great job, and it's great notoriety for the city.
Yeah, it's a historic moment, and you know what? It's 5 women of color as well, and that's a really big, awesome moment. I know that's something Kim Bly, I know personally, she was really proud of that. And what an awesome, awesome photo and moment for football in general, not just officiating or anything like that, but just football, to see a good moment happen between the gridiron lines.
Yeah, and I think it's also wonderful what the LA section did here. They promoted this. They propelled this forward. They wanted to make this happen. It was the LA City section getting together with these ladies and saying, here's a great opportunity for you to showcase who you are as officials.
I think these ladies have been pushing for it. I remember being in Sacramento in March this calendar year, and the CIF basketball championships, for the first time ever, had every girls basketball CIF state championship officiated by an all-women crew. And I just know that the assigners, the southern section, everyone about it, the state section, all that, they were all excited about having that opportunity and that platform to make history. So another kudos here.
Caleb Nui Yandel is a great running back at Banning. We're about to meet him and his head coach, Coach Grajeda, in a moment. And we also have, I see, a quick, now we know that Scott Pearson's brother, Kevin. See how I turned that around?
Good recovery.
Scott Pearson is the baseball coach. Kevin's the better-looking twin who's the football coach. Just got a peek that he's going to join us in a little while. He's my surprise guest, but he popped up on our monitor. I don't even know if you saw him at home. So we know that Kevin's going to be on the show. But first things first, we want to talk Banning football with Coach Grajeda, Raymond Grajeda, and his fine running back, Caleb Nui Yandel. They're good guys, and they're coming off that heartbreaking loss 14-7 to San Pedro.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me when I see teams lose before the playoffs. I wonder if that'll fire them up, wake them up. Do you wonder if they're entering a really crucial part of the season, asking themselves questions, right? It's a really interesting dynamic, so curious to catch up with Coach.
Well, let's bring them in. The group from Banning, they've had a very good year. Look at their record. They've lost a few games. You might think, hey, they're not that good, but they played a very competitive schedule. Southern Section schools at the beginning of the year. Coach Grajeda, welcome to the program, and Caleb, welcome to you as well. And we'll start, Coach, with that game last week, the 14-7 loss to San Pedro. I know you had chances to win the game.
Yeah, we fell short a couple times in the red zone, and missed opportunities will definitely lead to a loss. So kudos to San Pedro High for finishing the game. We obviously had some mishaps, but hard-fought game. Battle of the Harbor is always a coin toss. Last year we won by a block and a field goal. This year we lost by losing the red zone stand. So always a good game to see, always a good battle.
Yeah, it's really one of the great series in Southern California. I think going into the game, you guys were tied each with 41 wins, and there's been a plethora of ties as well. So it gives San Pedro the advantage by one in this series. Coach, tell us about your team going into the playoffs. Then we'll talk to your running back. What do you think of your squad and where they are mentally after the big game with San Pedro? And how do you think you're going to fare against Roosevelt next week in the tournament?
Yeah, I think from the start of the season, our mindset has always been a championship mindset. So we preach that every day at practice, every day in our preparation. But these guys know that our expectations are high expectations all the time. So they are surrounded by coaches. They're surrounded by players that are always feeding that type of mindset. So we are now in a position to conquer this mindset, and our boys understand that it's not going to be an easy road, but easy roads are not the access that we want. We want to battle through adversity, and we want to make sure that we earn our way to the top.
Caleb, we're talking about your recent loss, but how do you kind of put that in the rearview mirror? How do you have short-term memory on a loss and focus on what's ahead of you? What is the process by which you want to do that? Because if you don't win your next game, your season's over.
We just be using that loss as a motivation. Every time we're in practice, we always go hard, and every time we do something, we go hard. We just want to see Pedro in the championship game, and we've been having this game plan for Roosevelt, and we're about to go out there and do some damage and prove everybody wrong once again.
Without giving us kind of the secret sauce, what are the key elements to winning the game against Roosevelt, right? You said you got a game plan for them. We don't want to tell the world about that because that would be bad. But what are some elements that you have to do to get that victory?
We all know Roosevelt's they have a wing tee, so we're going to do the smash mouth football and be more physical than them.
I got Caleb's numbers right in front of me here, and these numbers are ridiculous. Offensively, as a running back, Caleb is averaging almost 7 yards a carry, over 1,000 yards on the ground, and 11 touchdowns. But what impresses me, Caleb, is the fact that you have 83 tackles, 50 of them are solos. You lead the team, 3 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. How do you stay on the field playing offense and defense and be that successful at both?
My mindset is just be that guy for the team. Let everybody rally around my energy and let everybody just rally off of what I'm feeding off so everybody can play to their standards and their best and their highest level.
Coach, you got a player that does it on both sides. I mean, what can you say about Caleb? Maybe your thoughts on such a pivotal player that impacts both sides of the ball.
We can never be too settled with any of our athletes. Uh, Definitely, these kids are still young men that are learning to grow with themselves, and sometimes they don't realize their potential. So it's a constant reminder of where they're at and where they need to be. And so coming into practice, we have our moments with all our players, and then some days it's a long. This process of having a bye before a playoff game is definitely a mindset that puts us a step behind. Coming to practice Monday, our team was not really understanding the purpose of this bye, not having a game this week. So we definitely had to rearrange practice at the beginning, and we have to constantly pressure the issue of this week is a battle week. And that was probably our toughest assignment this week, is motivating them for an off week. And we had a hard time doing it, but we moseyed through midweek, and I think we're back on track.
Coach, speak to the fact of your community, Wilmington, that Banning area. I've been to games there. That stadium is packed. You have a wonderful community environment, tremendous support. Talk about that and how that local people come out and support your Banning football team.
Being on staff from a high school that all my coaches 100% graduated from Banning High School. Everybody is community motivated. Everybody is pro community. So coming back from college, I had an option to go outside the area or stay inside the area. I chose to buy my home in Wilmington. I chose to give back to my high school that I graduated from, and my coaches that are on my staff have the same mentality. So we definitely take a lot of pride in what we do here in Wilmington. We're a community that is very strong and very heavy-hearted. Without this Banning High School in the middle of it, I think we would be definitely in the position to not have so much pride. So the high school alone gives us a lot of sense of pride, and it breathes through a lot of veins to this community, and we definitely honor it.
To piggyback off community, Caleb, talk about playing football with your brother. We know you have a younger brother on the team. What are some of those experiences like? Do you give him a hard time? Do you try and help him? Is there a little bit of both? Just kind of talk about playing football with your brother.
Playing football with my younger brother from my senior, it really is everything because we both feed off each other's energy. If he's having a bad game and I'm having a good game, I always try to lift him up. And if I'm having a bad game and he's having a good game, he lifts me up, tells me what to do. We help him. We both play defense, and we're always running to the ball. And we just the boomstick of everything. So we try to lay the hat all the time, and it's really we be doing damage a lot. So, and it's really fun out there on the field with him, and we have a lot of fun. And if we're winning by a lot, and me and him just in the playing defense, and we're just laughing about it, making jokes about it. And like when we play Carson, because we know a lot of people on the Carson team, so then we can see that they're getting angry because they're beating them by a lot, and me and him is just laughing at them and stuff like that. And it really gets fun out there with him. We make jokes, and I just can't believe that I really got to play with my brother again. It's a dream out there.
You see Caleb light up talking about his
Yeah,
brother?
that's cool.
How cool was that?
Yeah.
Coach, I want to talk to you about another team that's on your side of the bracket. Obviously, you can't be concerned about them now because you got to win against Roosevelt next week. But Birmingham plays Venice, and you would play the winner of that game. And Birmingham has been the school that's knocked you off the last couple of years, both in the semis and in the championship game. I'm certain you'd like a crack at those Patriots, right?
Definitely so. I mean, we've been in position, quite frankly, to beat these guys, I'd say, in about 5 appearances. And each time we've somehow slipped on that game. So, they've definitely been the kryptonite of our program. They've ended some good seasons we've had. and they've ended a championship run. Um, Something like that we don't forget, and you can't take anything away from a program that builds in confidence in championships as well. So we want to play the best, whether that be Venice or Birmingham, and we definitely are going to give it our all.
Coach, my last question for you, and I want to say you touched on it a little bit earlier, but there is this time you have to wait. You know, a lot of city section first round games, Division I and so on, are playing this Friday, but you have to wait a whole week until you play again on Thursday. Is it hard to kind of fill the time, keep the guys locked in? How do you manage that time off before you can play after playing a game basically every week, and then you got to kind of lay around for such an anticipated matchup?
Yeah, this to be honest with you, this layoff has benefited us. We play a tough fought Roosevelt High School team that I believe only has a loss, if that. These guys play really sound football, and they are very aggressive. This is one of the two teams in the city. I believe Granada Hills might be another team that lines up and they say, let's play football. We're not trying to do anything more than what we do, and that's predominantly run. So you don't run into that too often. We got 7-on-7. We have a lot of open spread offenses. This team is definitely Cars Node. So the hardest part for us was to create a scout team for Roosevelt. And this week definitely gave us time to build a scout team. To do a scout team against Roosevelt in a 3-day week is, I believe, impossible. So they got a good scheme to where you have to figure out how to beat them on offense. And we wouldn't have that opportunity in a 3-day. We play on a Thursday next week. So to do that in 3 days in a really game week, I feel like we wouldn't get a good look. So from Monday, we built our scout team. And I think today, our scout team scored on us. So they definitely took a few days to build themselves up and create a scout. To create that scout and run it tight is, I can tell you, it's almost impossible. So having this 2-week leverage, it was a blessing on us because Roosevelt runs a great offense, and it's rarely seen. Like I said, 2 teams in the city that I know run it, and how do you put that together in 3 days? It was our toughest thing. So we actually got an advantage of getting a couple extra days to take advantage of creating an offensive scout for Roosevelt.
Well, Coach, thank you very much. Congratulations on the number 3 seed. Caleb, best of luck in the playoffs, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you, guys, and certainly they have a chance come playoff time. Let's turn our attention to a little volleyball. We got the city section volleyball final. A couple teams from the Valley and the West Valley, Taft and Granada Hills. Granada Hills won both matches during the regular year, but the last one went 5 sets.
It's the genius of Coach Tom Harp.
Yeah,
I mean, Tom Harp, man, I don't think there's any volleyball set or football play that guy hasn't seen. When it comes to city section sports, he's the guy to talk to. He's like a historian. I talk to that guy, like knows everything. So I think Granada's always the team to beat, and they're in the final, and they'll probably prove that again and probably take down Taft. But, hey, you play the game for a reason. Hey, and I think this year it's at CSUN, which is a good event for the athletes. That should be a lot of fun and a great event.
Yeah, 7:30 tomorrow night. And Armand Mercado is a great coach for Taft, so that'll be a nice little match up there. And in the southern section, Sierra Canyon against a very talented Maricosta team that's won 13 straight. They've been the 2 best teams, and they split during the year.
That's right. So that's where I'll be. That's Cerritos College, 7 o'clock Saturday night. That's the Division I final. And, yeah, really looking forward to it. Olivia Babcock's the go-to player, so to speak, for Sierra Canyon. So we'll see how that one shakes out. My area out of nowhere became like the mecca of girls volleyball. The Division III finals between Oaks Christian and Alemany, and the Division IV finals between Campbell Hall and Saugus. So 2 double local championships in 3 and 4. Looking forward to a jam-packed weekend.
And Olivia Babcock, the young lady you reference who's been on this program, has 462 kills this year. That's a gigantic number.
Yeah, she's not very good.
No, yeah, she's going to pitch. She is very good. So is a guy by the name of Kevin Pearson. Kevin Pearson's the head football coach at Warren High School. He's the better looking. I'm hearing some feedback in my head. That's why I paused for a second. He's the better looking of the twins. Scott's good looking. Kevin is great looking, and he's going to join us now, and he's going to tell us about his Warren Bears and why they might humble their opponent in the first round at Sierra Canyon. Kevin, nice to have you on the show, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. I apologize for where I'm at right now. I misjudged traffic, as I often do here, coming home, and started pulling to the side of the road and take the call. So I appreciate you.
All right, give us a little preview. You're playing this big football game this week. You got a tough opponent in Sierra Canyon. What do you think? Why are the Bears potentially going to win this game?
I mean, a lot of people talk about our loss that starts with Nico. What I believe is, my unbiased opinion, he's the best quarterback in the country. So when you have somebody like that, obviously you start with the offense, and we've been able to put up some points and things like that. But our defense has been spectacular those couple of years, and we got a lot of good athletes. We fly around, and we do a pretty good job of containing people. But like you said, Sierra Canyon is for all intents and purposes, I think they're a Division I school. I'm kind of shocked that they're down to Division II, and just when you beat two teams the way they beat Chaminade and Sarah, and for those teams to be ranked over them, it tells you there's a flaw in the system. However, I'm very fortunate that we're able to be able to play a team of the caliber of Sierra Canyon, because they've been top 10 team in the state the last few years, and they got their state championships and CF championships and all that. And they're very explosive on offense, and man, they're really good up defense. They're outstanding up front, both sides of the ball. We haven't seen anybody the caliber of them since I've been at Warren. So it's going to be a good test just to see where we're at in terms of a program. When we started at Warren, our goal was to be, Division I school and to compete and do well. And so here we are. We're on the cusp of Division I, and we're gonna battle and fight and see where we stand at the end of the game.
Coach, I couldn't agree more. I think Cal Prep's as flawed as you can get, but that's a discussion for another day. I couldn't agree more. There might be no better team than Sierra Canyon playing football right now with those two victories. But my question for you is, they run the ball. They have certainly shown, Terrell Cooks, Dane Dunn, they want to run the ball, Coach. What is your run defense like? Have you faced a run offense like Sierra Canyon might show you on Friday night, and how do you prepare for it?
Yeah, up front, they're really, really good. Like I said, they're going to be the best, team we've seen. And it's not really even close. I mean, Sarah's pretty good up front, but they're not Sierra Canyon. And those two running backs, Chopper and Daniel, those guys are just phenomenal. I mean, Sarah has a great running attack. They have their 1-2 punch. These guys are special as well. So. Playing Sarah, I guess, can kind of prepare you for them, but man, you just hope that you contain them. They're probably going to break off their runs. I feel people think that about us offensively. We're going to get a couple big plays here and there, and that's how we feel about them. We got to try to contain their big plays and get some stops along the way, and hopefully a lot of people, I guess, telling me it's going to be a shootout. I hope our defense is able to stop them before it gets to that point. And both their quarterbacks do a pretty good job managing the game. And, it looks like they're highly intelligent. They run their RPO game pretty well. They don't make a lot of bad decisions, it's a challenge for sure. It's a challenge for sure. And like I said, we're excited to be able to be in this position as a program. And, as bad as Cal Preps is in their rankings, and I think it's just atrocious, up and down what they do and have done and are allowed to do. That's beside the point. We got to line up and play whoever. Anybody can win any game when you're at your best, so we got to be at our best.
I want to go back to Nico Iamaleava. You said you think he's the best quarterback in the country. He's on his way to Tennessee. Why do you think he's the best quarterback in the country?
He's, you know, I've seen them all, and I'm not anything away from any of those other guys. They're great players, all of them. But Nico is special, and seeing him on a daily basis, and let's start with his arm strength. If you want to start there, which is what everybody kind of gets worried about, top in the country. He's up there, arm strength. There's probably no one better than him. But then you get into his physical stature. He's legit 6'6", but he can run. He makes guys miss. He runs guys over. His mentality is different than most quarterbacks. I mean, he's been a rugby player, his whole life, and played defense his whole life. His instincts are really to kind of punish you, and he does that, on a daily basis. And but his decision making, his quick decision making, be able to understand what defenses try to do to you, is phenomenal. It's up there with Bryce Young, and who I thought, Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator at Alabama, told me on 2 different occasions that the 2 smartest players he's ever coached, and he's a career NFL guy, 2 smartest players he's ever coached is Tom Brady and Bryce Young, and Nico's up there in intelligence. He's and you put in his work ethic, similar to Bryce Young's. Those guys, they do not stop at night after this, on the weekend. They're always doing something to get better, and that's why those guys are special. They're different. They're different than most high school players who are great. They're above that. And so, just as I predicted, Bryce will win the Heisman 2 years before he won it. I'm predicting very boldly and assuredly that Nico will win the Heisman. He's that good.
All right, we have that on tape now, so you're going to be held to that you're accountable. Kevin, I appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on. Say hello to Scott for us. We love the Pearsons here at SoCal Prep Report.
I appreciate you. I think you give Scott a little bit too much credit by calling him good looking. I'd put him in maybe the average category, and I'd probably upgrade me to the gorgeous category if that's fair to say.
Yeah, we're not arguing with you.
My wife.
All right, you
that's all
take care.
coming from my wife. So.
All right, Kevin. All right, you take care. Have a great
guys.
night.
Yeah, I just appreciate it. God bless them. Bye-bye.
All right, you take care. Great family. The Pearsons are a great family.
Yeah, good personality. I could tell why I'm sure players respond to him because he's a player's coach. I kind of get like a Pete Carroll kind of fun.
Sure.
Lets the guys express themselves. Let's go out and get a W type vibe. So good for them. And hey, that's going to be quite a battle on Friday. And just real quick, Cal Preps has that game projected: Sierra Canyon 34, Warren 27. 3
quick games to go and talk about before we leave you. One of them we just previewed, Warren Sierra Canyon. How about the undefeated game, Charter Oak and Yorba Linda, both 10-0. Yorba Linda is 20-1 over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think, and the one loss was in the playoffs. Yeah, Yorba Linda's, and they went and played Bishop Ahmad, if I'm not mistaken, in the Division II playoffs. Yorba Linda was one of those teams that had a 10-0 season last year, and Cal Preps shot them all the way up in a division they probably didn't belong in, and they ended up losing. So this is in Division III. It's probably about where they belong, and I think they'll probably get a win in this one.
Yeah, we both picked Yorba Linda there. How about the Division I game? J. Sarah 5-5 back at Santa Margarita. They played during the regular season in the Trinity League. Santa Margarita won the first meeting 29-28.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get 2 Trinity League teams playing off again, you just don't know who's going to win, especially with those records. So that's another toss-up, and it just reminds me of the other play-in game for Division I, and I believe it's between Edison and Orange Lutheran. That's a rematch as well. Edison won earlier in the year against Orange Lutheran. It wouldn't be surprising if Orange Lutheran got him back.
And the final, we got to have a prediction, right? Warren 9-1, Sierra Canyon 6-4. Who do you like?
I picked Sierra Canyon in the paper. I'm going with Cal Preps on that one. You heard Coach say Warren probably hasn't played a team like Sierra Canyon all year, and when you get to the postseason, you play something you have never seen. That usually looms trouble. So give me the Trailblazers in that one.
Well, me too. Got to go with Sierra Canyon. I think Warren will make it competitive.
Sure.
You have Nico Iamale with a quarterback who's, if he's compared to Bryce Young and Tom Brady, he's pretty good. So we're going to go, though, with Sierra Canyon. Tarek, we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed the preview of that big game with Warren and Sierra Canyon. We thank all the guys from Banning as well. Thank everybody here, our crew at LA 36. We'll be back on next Thursday night, live right here on SoCal Prep Report. For Tarek, I'm Randy. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.